Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be kind of doing a second part to a video that I just made, and that video was talking about things that you're probably worried about as a first-time mom that you don't need to worry about. This video is going to be talking about things that you're probably not worried about that you should be, or things that I didn't worry about that I should have. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, things you're probably not thinking about but should be. Some of these are small, some of these are big. The first thing on my list is a nipple shield. I just did not have this on my radar at all. But, and again, you'll probably have plenty of time to purchase this if you are planning on breastfeeding and you haven't bought it already. I just had no idea even what a nipple shield was, but the nipple shield really helped me in my breastfeeding journey. So I would definitely recommend a nipple shield. The next thing that I did not think about, but I should have, was formula. So if you guys listen to my breastfeeding experience and my journey with breastfeeding, we ended up eventually switching over to formula completely. I was just completely naive about the whole struggle with breastfeeding and all that goes into it. And I had not purchased any formula prior to having Grayson. Luckily, these formula companies send you formula without you even asking for it, which is amazing. So we had formula at the house that they had sent me, but it's not something that I ever thought we would need or use. It just wasn't on my radar. So I think it's always good to be prepared and to just have an awareness of that might be something that you have to do, even if it's not something that you were planning on. The next thing that I wasn't thinking about, but I should have, was just the bottles and the tools to do dishes. So again, I thought my son was going to be exclusively breastfed, and then our world just got flipped upside down when I had him. He was breastfed, bottle fed, and formula fed. So we did use a lot of bottles, and I had to go out and buy almost all of them after he was born, which is okay. It's totally fine. But it's nice to be prepared and have those. And all of the different tools that you need for the bottles. So obviously the bottles themselves, you'll need a bottle washer, bottle brush, and different stands if you would like for the bottles to dry on. The next thing I did not think about was Grayson favoring one side of his head. So this is pretty common with babies. They will lie with their head facing one direction over the other. I think Grayson liked to look more towards the right. So when he was lying on his back, he would look in this direction. And because of that, his head started to become just slightly misshapen. Luckily, our pediatrician noticed it very early on, and we were able to almost completely correct it, doing neck exercises with him and just making sure that we put the exciting things for him to look at on this side over here so that his head was nice and round and perfect. I had no idea that that was something that happened. I knew that babies got a flat head from laying on their back all of the time, and we were very aware of that. We tried to make sure that we did sufficient tummy time and that he was held a lot so that he wouldn't get a flat spot on the back of his head, and he didn't. But when he did lay down, he tended to look one direction over the other, and that did create a little bit of a misshapen head for him. Again, we were able to correct the problem. He has a beautiful, perfect head now, but it is something that you probably need to think about, or at least be able to recognize when you have a little babe. Okay, so this next one is huge. It's shocking that I didn't really think too much about this before we had him. Childcare. Josh and I both work full-time jobs, so naturally we are going to have to find childcare for our son or our kids. At the time I was pregnant, I thought we were going to have a little bit more family support. Certain family members were going to watch him on certain days, and then I was going to have to only find childcare for a few days of the week. I had it more in my head, and I didn't really communicate that well to them. And it just wasn't going to work out that way. So If I could go back and do everything again, when I found out I was pregnant and we knew our situation, like where we were gonna live, I would have gotten on some wait lists for childcare like halfway through my pregnancy, or at least in the 3rd trimester. That way we would have had our choice for childcare. Everything worked out in the end. We got very, very lucky with childcare. But if you are expecting and childcare is something that you're gonna have to consider, which you are unless you're gonna be staying home with the baby, definitely get on top of that. It's so, so important. That is going to be part of your everyday life and your routine. So get on top of that. The next thing I was not thinking about, this was primarily in the hospital, was a schedule. When babies are first born, that newborn stage is very challenging, but also it needs to be very structured. They have to have a solid routine. That way they get into that routine when you get home. So at the hospital, you really need to be feeding the baby every 2 to 3 hours, changing the baby, letting the baby take naps. Obviously, you're gonna have to be pumping if you're wanting to breastfeed pretty much around the clock. It's just very structured and there needs to be a routine. I had no idea that it was going to be like that. So if you're expecting and you don't know that and you're wanting to breastfeed, and even if you're not wanting to breastfeed, feeding needs to be a routine anyway. Your entire life, the first few weeks are basically surrounded around making sure that baby is fed on a consistent schedule. That way they're nice and healthy. Okay. The next thing I was not thinking about or worried about was just the mom guilt. I have experienced an enormous amount of mom guilt. I can't even describe how much guilt I feel. For example, my son is at daycare. This is my day off. I'm going to probably spend 15 minutes recording this video for you guys. And I feel guilty that I'm not playing with him right now. And like, I know he's at school and he's learning and he's socializing, which is fantastic for him. A routine is very important for him, but I feel guilty that I'm recording a video and not playing with him. Just the little things. I feel guilty for being a full-time working mom. I feel guilty because I'm at work all day and he's at daycare all day instead of with me. I know that it's beneficial for him and I know that everyone has to do that, or most people have to do that. If I had a choice, obviously I would stay home with him, but I feel guilty about that. The whole breastfeeding situation felt so much guilt about breastfeeding and not breastfeeding. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. It gets better the older they get. In my experience, I just constantly beat myself up about this. I think the main thing to help you overcome something like that is to have mom friends or people in your life who can be very understanding and help dig you out of that hole that you can kind of put yourself in. I didn't have a ton of mom friends at the beginning. As I'm getting older and kind of settling into motherhood a little bit more, I'm getting more of those friends, and it's really nice to just say, hey, I'm having a bad day, I'm at work, I feel bad because Grayson's at daycare and I'm not with him. To have those people in your life who can support you and say, you are doing what's best for your child, you're doing it because you have to, you're giving them a better life. People to just really pull you out of that darkness, because the guilt can really just envelop you. The last thing on my list is kind of silly and random, but I felt like it was important to put on here at the time that I made this list. So if you're planning on co-sleeping with your baby, which is totally fine, that's totally your choice. We did not primarily co-sleep with Grayson, but we did on and off throughout his life so far. Make sure you wash your sheets in baby detergent. Their skin is just super sensitive at the beginning, and you just want to make sure that the detergent you use is safe for them. Okay, so that is my list of things that I was not thinking about when I was pregnant, but I probably should have been thinking about. Hopefully this list is helpful to you. I congratulate you on your bundle of joy, or soon to be bundle of joy. I wish you all of the best, and I hope this video was helpful. If it was, give me a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more content. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.